You have God in your life, everything is good. If you, yeah, sir, become, no problem. Yeah, you could sit in on class if you want to, but if you want to go sleep, no problem. I know, whatever you like, but you're, no, never feel that way. Just come right on in and out, no problem. So, the God effect. You have God, you have the sanction and blessings of God, everything is wonderful. If you don't, then the Lord says, no problem, you pursue this world. This world, it has a built-in system of cause and effect. No matter what you do, you will get the effect that you deserve, and that's it. You know, the Lord, He's not going to intervene. He's given you your free will, and it's your own, blessing and curse to use it as you like. But because we're sufficiently unintelligent and bewildered by ignorance, we almost always use it very poorly, and then we get all kinds of effects in this world that are not so savory, and then we're all suffering. There's a Bhagavad Gita verse that says, Mamai Vamsha Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana Mana Shashtan Indriyani, and then it's and then it's Prakriti Sthanam Karshati. And it pretty much means that all of the living entities are God's parts and parcels. Like, we're all little parts of God. And we're eternal, actually. But in this world, we are struggling with the six mundane senses, including the mind. You know, the mind is pursuing, it's Gyan Indriyani, Manashtashtan Indriyani. You know, all the Indriyas are senses that are perceiving this world, but it's imperfect. Meaning, we sometimes think we see a snake, but it actually turns out to be a rope. And you're like, oh, wow, I swear I saw that. But our senses are imperfect. It's not actually perceiving all of reality. Our scientists are finding out just how little we can actually measure with the senses. Practically 0% in an infinite world of infinite, abilities to perceive. So, yes, what is that? Prakriti Sthani Karshati. We're in this material world, we're situated, and what's the result? Karshati, suffering. That's what happens in this material world when we choose to try to be. And why are we here in the first place? Because we are trying to we're very interested in being God. We're not very interested in being submissive to God in any way. We're very interested in everyone else being submissive to us. So that's why we get so angry if someone disrespects us. That's why we get so upset if things don't go as we want or we planned. Why? Because we Dainya, Hare Krishna. We feel that we are the enjoyer. We have the right to enjoy. This place is for my enjoyment. So the Lord says, all right, you're one of these guys, huh? Let me put you in a detention center, this material world, and yes, go ahead, no problem. So just like the prisoners, they have their own little cliques in prison, and they do really abominable things with each other. But, there's they have the popular guys in the prison. Or even in high school. In high school, it's like a prison. We're all following prison bells, and it's like beep, 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 next thing, and everyone's filing and on to the next thing. But, there's the cool kids in high school. And then there's the weird kids in high school. And then there's all these different cliques. So that's, we're all kind of dealing with this material nature in this world. But there is a really nice effect. It's called the God effect. If you have the Lord, if you have the graces of the warden or even the superintendent of the school, he might be like, all right, you don't have to sit in class with everyone else. Come on, I have a special project for you. You can go do this. And the warden, he might give prisoners, the well-behaved prisoners, they get a special set of functions and services in the prison, and they're much better situated than all the other prisoners. So similarly, if we are very interested in understanding, well, how did we get in this prison in the first place? What's going on? Who's reality? Who's behind this whole thing? Oh, God? And then we, add the equation of searching for God in our life. Then you get something quite wonderful. The most wonderful thing, actually. That's what Krishna means, actually. The most beautiful and most amazing thing. Rama means the most pleasing, pleasurable, amazing, wonderful thing. And Hare, the one who will get rid of all of your problems, all your illusions, your ignorance, your own miseries that are afflicted on you. Why? Because of our own doing. You probably may have heard the verse, Tatenu kampam susamikshimano, Bunjana evatma kritam vipakam. Bunjana, we're experiencing evatma kritam, certainly experiencing our own self-inflicted miseries, that we did this and then we got the results. We didn't expect those results and the consequences to our actions, and we got them. So anyhow, we're here. Very nice, Daniel. I'm very happy you got to join us for Bhagavatam today. That's a wonderful treat. And we got Matt as well. So before we begin, the subject matter is the God effect. And where are we in the Bhagavatam? There's a conversation between two great demigods. And they're being afflicted by the personality of Kali, who you could say is a great demon. And the Mother Earth is in the form of a beautiful cow, and Dharma, or the god of actually death, but the god of rules and justice, he is in the form of a bull, and they're being harassed by this demon Kali. And this is actually figurative and allegorical, and it's going to set the scene for the problems we face in this age. Because these demigods are dealing with this problem, the whole age will inherit certain qualities. And this was predicted 5,500 years ago, and it only becomes more and more true as the years progress in this age. That's one of the reasons I started really taking this seriously, was because I saw very viscerally, like, oh my God, this was predicted many, many thousands of years ago. And even in the last 10 years, I'm noticing the effect increasing and increasing just as predicted. And it's, you could study it, you can measure it. So, we are on, you know what? I have it on the TV. That's normally what I do. So you may not even have to, we're on 1:16:31 of the Bhagavatam. So now Mother Earth and Dharma are having this, and she's lamenting about the reason she's so upset is because that the Lord, who was on this planet giving her so much satisfaction and giving the world so much satisfaction, anyone who got to associate with the Lord and experience the pastimes of the Lord was just in ecstasy. But because just like the sun will wind up his pastimes for the day and set and leave us and go on to the next, the Lord, when it's time for him to exit stage right, he's like, okay, I'm going to go somewhere else now. For those of you who are interested in coming on, here's this amazing show I put on. Everyone was happy, and then now on to the next thing. Even the Christians, Jesus was here, he performed miracles, did amazing things, and then off into a transcendental plane. And then we're stuck here, well, what about us? That's the whole goal of what we're doing. We have to realize that this is not even, first realize this is not a good situation. Most people don't even realize this is not a good situation. Most people think, oh, I'm the enjoyer here. This life has plenty for me to enjoy. The world is my playground, and let me enjoy. And then they try and enjoy, and then they fall and scrape their knee, and they're, oh my God. And then what's to speak of death? We have to face that thing. But this is our, this is unfortunately what's happening. We don't have many of us don't have any information of a better existence or reality. So we try to make the most of our little sandbox experience here in the world. Or like Prabhupada used to quote, the frog in the well. And we don't know anything other than our little well. So we're like, yeah, I'm the master here. I'm the great. And you might tell the frog about the glories of the Atlantic Ocean. And the frog is, I know all about water. I know all about oceans, blah, blah, blah. Look at me. I'm the king of this well. And this is us, We know all about existence. Look at me. I'm the... I know all about Syracuse, or I know all about New Jersey, or I know all about my place in India. But we know so little, actually. And but when the reality of the Lord opens up to us, and we're humble and submissive to it, we can have a whole expanded reality enter. So Bhagavatam is doing this. The last few verses were... the earthly deity in the form of a cow thus replied to the personality of religious principles, Dharma, O Dharma, whatever you have inquired from me shall be known to you. I shall try to reply to all those questions. Once you were too maintained by your 4 legs, and you increased happiness all over the universe by the mercy of the Lord. There's 4 legs or 4 pillars of Dharma, and it is mercy, austerity, cleanliness, and mercy, austerity, cleanliness. Why am I missing one? Someone help me. What's that? Truth and honesty. Yes, that's an honesty. So all of these legs are taken out by certain activities, and now she's in the beginning. It was mentioned that 3/4 of the legs were hurt because the personality of Kali is beating the cow, and so what legs are hurt is actually. What did I say, the first one? I'm a little off today. Mercy. Yeah, mercy. Mercy is off. Why? Because now everyone is doing animal slaughter. Animal slaughter, a lack of mercy. People will fight with each other. They argue with each other. Will even kill each other. They'll even celebrate someone else got killed. We're seeing now in the political arena, some people are, over exaggerating how treacherous it is that one man died. And then the other side is over, so he deserved it, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, it makes for a really uncomfortable type of situation where, like, can't you all just be, like, merciful to each other? Why? Because we've actually lost the qualities of mercy in this age. People are farther away from each other than ever before. The political spectrums are farther away from each other than ever before. Everything, and the main symptom of that is eating meat. The eating of animal flesh, we've lost all mercy for the animals. So mercy is gone. Austerity is gone. What's the symptom of that? Intoxication. Instead of being disciplined and instead of being very sober and trying to use the mind very one-pointedly to try and figure out reality, we get lazy and we get, I'd rather just enjoy, so let me puff a little bit of this, let me drink a little bit of this, and, let my mind just kind of relax and try to enjoy. And really what it does is it dulls down. I used to take, for instance, Adderall. And Adderall, it seems like a miracle drug. It's a very bad and horrible drug. It's like a pre-amphetamine. I won't recommend any of these things. But anyhow, what it does is it numbs down the brain so that all you can focus on is one thing. That's instead of, the brain is all over the place, and it's good that you can focus, but the way to focus it is not to numb down and ruin the whole rest of the brain so that all it can do is focus on one thing. So unfortunately, this is what intoxication does. It pretty much, any higher capacity of our intellect faculties, it takes that away, and there's no discipline there. And then we try to revel in, I don't know if you've ever seen, like, Matt, you were talking about, you may have had experience with this or people like this, but people on a high, relishing, there's some pleasure. The reason people get high is they get some pleasure. But ultimately, when you look from the outside, you're like, man, I don't know why you're trying to experience pleasure like this. Mm-hmm. So this is the lack of discipline and austerity. If someone's disciplined and austere and they have, a focus, they'll realize, these are very base pleasures, this is not a good way to try and enjoy. But, so that leg is lost also in Kali Yuga. Everyone's getting intoxicated as much as they can. And then the last leg that's lost is cleanliness. And the main way that cleanliness is lost is illicit sexual activity. We live in a hypersexualized society. Sex on the billboards. The most popular use of the internet is sex websites, and the most lucrative and money-making thing out there, even on the internet, OnlyFans, sex websites. It's all about sex, and why this is actually ultimately an unclean activity. Sex has a function. Abhiram wouldn't be here, Nadia wouldn't be here, all these wonderful none of us would be here without the function of sex. But to try and exploit and use sex for base pleasures, it's actually a very unclean activity. And maybe you could probably imagine some of the unclean circumstances you've been in, quite literally and also subtly and mentally, that regarding sex. So it's, but in Kali Yuga, everyone is so hypersexualized, and it's only getting worse. In the past 50 years, look at how much sexualization is just, even 100 years ago, there was a pretty modest standard of sex. It wasn't out in the open, it wasn't everywhere. But now, like 50, 60 years ago, it's just in your face and more and more and more and more and more. So these are gone. The only one that's left is honesty. But even that is being hit he's beating that final leg. And that final leg, honesty, is every day being more and more and more and more. So this is the state right now. And Dharma, even though he's getting beaten, he's lamenting for Mother Earth. Why are you so sad? And what does she say? That, when we had the Lord, he was here, and in him reside truthfulness, cleanliness, intolerance of another's unhappiness, and so on. There's many qualities he's read. That was what we did yesterday. And then Prabhupada commented in the purport how these are actually only just a tinge of the Lord's unlimited qualities, actually. The Lord has unlimited amazing qualities, but you can only try and measure them and break them down into these brackets. But each one could be sub-expanded upon almost infinitely. So that was discussed yesterday. And so the God effect is that when you have the Lord, and you have the Lord's, those who are representing the Lord, those who are eagerly seeking the Lord, and the process of seeking the Lord is present in your life, when the God effect is there, everything will actually be quite auspicious in life. But when God is not present in one's life, one's not able to be in a place where you, in one sadhu sangha, when you don't associate with those who are also approaching the Lord, all your association, instead of having the God effect on you, it has the Maya effect, and it brings you into a whirlpool of just sinking deeper and deeper into illusion into this world. But then the sadhus will convince you also, let's Nam Sankirtan, let's chant the names of God. So then you might get in a habit, like every day, I'm going to come and chant the names of God. Or every day, I'm going to have my own practice. I'm going to call out to God, and I'm going to make sure that the God effect is happening in my life. I'm placing Krishna in my life. So then we start doing. Then you might want to hear about, this is another amazing quality. You'll want to hear what we're doing right now, Bhagavat Shravan. Hear about the message of God. What does God want from us? What is God like? What does he do? What is his message? What does he want? What is his position? What's our position? What should we do? So Bhagavat Shravan will take place. And then last, you might do some ritual worship, deity. And then eventually you may even want to go to the holy places in your local town. It would be your temple, and do seva there, service. Serve in the place where the Lord is being worshipped. And especially his pastime holy places where he appeared on this world, like in Vrindavan and so on. So these things take place. Now, before we begin though, our today's reading, let's honor our gurus. Nothing can be accomplished without the mercy of those the Lord has given mercy to, the saints and sages who are the messengers of the Lord, the empowered messengers, the very well-behaved servants of the Lord who are come to help the less fortunate. So we'll chant some prayers here, and you can go along. So the symptoms of Kali Yuga are going to be elaborated on more. And Mother Earth will be lamenting, because why are the symptoms of Kali Yuga taking place? Because the Lord has left. When the Lord is present in one's life, the symptoms of Kali Yuga actually can't take place. But when the Lord is missing, and like for most of this age, the Lord is missing from most people's life. Even the religions, the actual essence and spirit of love of God is missing. Why? Because the pillars of Dharma are being breached. The way that they're breached are first is meat eating. There's no mercy. People are just eating anything, whatever tastes good, feels good, they do it. They don't mind if that hurts another living entity or anyone else. And yeah, people are, it's a very cutthroat world. Why? Because they're literally cutting the throats of animals, eating the cut throats, and that's how they sustain themselves. So, and you're seeing it's only getting worse, more and more and more. There's like a vegetarian movement out there, a vegan movement out there, and it is growing actually, because people, but actually the animal slaughter and the availability of meat eating is on a higher level than it's ever been before. And it's more gross, it's more in your face, and it's more, yeah, you used to actually have to hunt or raise animals, but now the factory slaughter farms, it's so oppressive and it's so brutal, and it's only increasing. And this was a predicted symptom 5,000 years ago, and it's only become more and more true. Illicit sex, similarly, or intoxication, similarly. Every corner has a liquor store, a way to get intoxicated. In New York, you can go to any grocery store and intoxication aisle is totally there. And it's only more and more and more. People, getting drunk on the job, people getting high on the job. Now you can go anywhere. I used to pray for this day when like weed was going to get legalized and I knew you could smoke. But now everywhere I go, even in the morning, I'm smelling weed and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I prayed for this at one point. But this is, Kali Yuga, more and more intoxication, less and less discipline and austerity. And then, what's to see, illicit sex is everywhere, billboards, movies, here, there, OnlyFans, internet, most popular websites, everything's about sex, everything's hypersexualized. People can't even have a normal sexual relationship anymore because they're so scarred by associating sex with porn and things like this, and everything's so perverted, and it's only going to keep increasing. That's Kali Yuga. Pedophilia, all this child trafficking, secret islands where they do horrible sexual things. Yeah, it's prominent, and guess what? It's huge. And then finally, now the last leg that's standing, but it's decreasing every day, is honesty. And there's new ways, cheating methods. Prabhupada says no gambling, but there's so many ways, some of the prominent ways money is being made are stocks and cryptocurrencies and this, that, and the other. And actually there's so much gambling and cheating involved in the process. And it's so more and more. Yes.
It was actually nice on this yesterday because I was listening to Classification Maharaj, and he was talking about why in Kali Yuga is truthfulness, because it seems like, the media is trying to fool you, this is trying to fool you, that, every which way people are trying to lie to you and sell you something. And so why is it that in Kali Yuga truthfulness is the limb that's still standing when it seems the exact opposite?
It's because this is still here.
And and he was saying that as long as the Shastras are here, that's our light of truthfulness, and because of that, Kali Yuga is illuminated by this light. And it was nice. But he said he never saw any evidence. That was just a speculation.
Yeah, well, this is as far as I've heard as well, because the Shastra is still standing, and this is the last. This is our evidence. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, "Tasmat shastrang pramanam te karya karya vyavastito gyatva shastra vidhanoktam karma kartami harhasi." And what he is saying is, therefore, Shastra is the evidence, O Arjuna. If you want to know what should be done and what should not be done, and you want to determine that, and knowing Shastra, by knowing Shastra, Gyatva Shastra, Vidhanoktam, and all of its kinds of rules and regulations, you'll know exactly what you should do in this world. So Krishna he's not come to change anything. He's coming to just carry the message and keep it going forward. So the Shastras are still here. So honesty is still here. And look, we are fighting for honesty right now by approaching the Shastra. With teachings like Bhagavad Gita, teachings like Srimad Bhagavatam, the ancient Vedas are there. Krishna says he is the Rig, the Sam, and the Yajur Vedas in the Bhagavatam, or in the Bhagavad Gita. So let's actually get into the Shastra.
What is Shastra?
Shastra means scriptures, the wisdom scriptures. And it's the evidence from which we can derive truth. And the Lord will sanctify and authorize them. Some so-called Shastras are not authorized. You can't trace their lineage back. They're not preserved by masters. That's why something like Scientology, it will arise very quickly and then it'll peter out. That's why even newer age religions and things like that, there's many that have disappeared. But the oldest on the planet is the Vedic wisdom scriptures. And they're far, far older than any of the Abrahamic, and they are still very much prominent, and they will continue to be very much prominent because it's a bona fide lineage of wisdom. But even even Jesus, he also he said, "I've not come to change the law; I've come to fulfill the law." So he's the same way. The preservation of the ancient wisdom given by God that's always going to be prominent, but you have to actually look at the Shastra first. To actually scientifically evaluate the Shastra, you have to observe it. So that's our whole process. We're just observing the Shastra, and then we're seeing whether we can observe the truth or not. So that's what we're doing. So, Atmanang chanu shochami Bhavantang chamarotamam Devan pitrin rishin sadhun Sarvan varnangs tathashraman Atmanam, myself, cha also, anushochami, lamenting, bhavantam, yourself, cha as well as, amara uttamam, the best among the demigods, devan, about the demigods, pitran, about the denizens of the Pitraloka planet. The Pitraloka planet is like where the ancestors go, like an elevated place where our ancestors go who are pious. Rishin, about the sages. Sadhun, about the devotees. Sarvan, all of them. Varnan, sections. Tatha, as also. Ashraman, orders of human society. So remember, Mother Earth, she's lamenting, and Dharma's asking why she's lamenting. She's saying, I'm thinking about myself and also, O best among the demigods, about you, as well as about all the demigods, sages, denizens of Pitraloka, devotees of the Lord, and all men obedient to the system of Varna and Ashram in human society. So Prabhupada is saying, purport here, to effect the perfection of human life, there is cooperation between men and demigods, sages, denizens of the Pitraloka, devotees of the Lord, and the scientific system of Varna and Ashram, the orders of life. This has now been perverted into what's known as the caste system. But actually, Varna and Ashram is by quality, it's not by birth. And if you understand it in that way, it's actually very scientific, and everyone fits into it. We'll explain that soon. The distinction between human life and animal life therefore begins with the scientific system of Varna and Ashram. Varna is like the occupation that you do in this world, and Ashram is like the phase of life that you're in. So everybody is either a basic laborer. Most people in this age are their Varna and Shudra. Shudra means like a basic laborer. Meaning they're not so qualified and skilled to, do so many things, but they can listen to someone else who tells them what to do. And, I have a boss, things like that. That's most people's Varna in this age. Then some people have a little bit more of a tendency for how to make money and run businesses and things like that, enterprise, and they're called Vaishyas or business owners. And then some people, they are a bit more, even more qualified in how to run governments and statesmen and things like that, and how to enforce law and order in society. And they're called Kshatriyas, or like the statesmen or the warriors. It used to be like the kingly class or the royal class.
Or they're completely unqualified, but somehow got...
Yes, well, that's a symptom of Kali Yuga. It's a symptom of Kali Yuga that we've actually don't have really any true Kshatriyas, and we don't have any true Brahmanas. And the Kshatriyas were supposed to listen to the highest class, which is the Brahman or the intellectual class, those who understood higher truth, Brahman means absolute truth. So this is ultimately what it's supposed to be. But unfortunately, it's completely perverted. It's flipped on its head. It was thrown into a caste system, and now it's just not even observed at all. And ashrams are the different phases of life. You start out in student life, then you might enter family life, then you have retired life, where now you're focusing on spiritual practices, and then eventually you might renounce everything altogether, become a monk, and completely devote yourself to spiritual life. So all of this is recommended in the Vedic system. But, and she's lamenting because this isn't going to be practiced. Everyone practicing this is going to be disturbed so much by Kali coming.
Prabhupada talks a lot about that too in the purports of how everyone's Shudra and the Shudras are electing other Shudras.
Yeah. Why democracy is a complete nonsense in the first place is because you have unqualified people voting for unqualified people, because all unqualified people can do is vote for unqualified people. So the whole democracy system in the first place is just, it's set up to fail. And that's why it is failing.
He also does say that it's the best.
It's the best of a bad bargain, actually, unfortunately. We have so much bad bargain in Kali Yuga. But that's the symptom of Kali Yuga. So that's why she's lamenting. So everyone's cooperating together, guided by the experience of the sages in relation with the demigods, gradually rising to the summit of reestablishing our eternal relation with the Supreme Absolute Truth, the personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. So all of our duties in life actually can help lead us to gradually rise to understanding what is the absolute truth. So even if you're a basic laborer, if you do your job, you offer it to God in some type of way, and you do spiritual activities, it'll help you actually. Doing your job will help you. But unfortunately, in this age, it's going to be harder and harder and harder for people to reach that ultimate purpose of the Vedas, is reestablishing the relationship with the Supreme. So when God made Varnashram Dharma, which is strictly meant for developing animal consciousness into human consciousness, and human consciousness into godly consciousness. So it's the evolution of consciousness. Animal consciousness eats, sleeps, mates, defends. That's all the animal cares about. Where am I going to eat? Is my arrangement for sleeping okay? Where's some good sex at? And then defending, I need to get this, this, and this, and then I have to protect it all. We do that the same thing. We polish ours up in different ways. Animal consciousness only does those four things. Most human beings are dvipadapashu. Practically animals only doing those four things. But human consciousness is actually understanding, well, what's the purpose of this all? Why am I here? Who am I? What is reality? Is there a God? They're inquiring into the absolute truth. Only the human can do that. Animal, the dog is not going to philosophize. The bird is not going to philosophize, nor the plants, or anything like this. So this is the human purpose. So actually Varnashram, the system of Varnashram, raises you from animal platform to doing dharma or duties to society and to God, and then you'll raise to the human platform. And then from the human platform, you can raise to the godly consciousness. And that's the religious system. This is the sadhana that we're trying to do, raise to this godly consciousness. But which is strictly meant for developing animal consciousness into human consciousness and human consciousness into godly consciousness, is broken by advancement of foolishness. The whole system of peaceful and progressive life is at once disturbed. So if in society this is broken, this Varnashram system, and people can't properly raise to human consciousness and godly consciousness, everything is disturbed, and everyone's peaceful and progressive life is at once disturbed. And you see this more and more. People have less and less peace in their lives. The jobs are getting harder and harder, more and more demanding. The school is more and more demanding. The pressure of finances and this, that, and this is just growing more and more demanding. It's Kali Yuga. In the age of Kali, the first attack of the venomous snake strikes against the God-made Varnashram Dharma. And thus a person properly qualified as a Brahmin is called a Shudra. And a Shudra by qualification is passing as a Brahmin, all on a false birthright claim. So he's demonizing the caste system here. And to become a Brahmin by birthright claim is not at all bona fide, or it's not authentic, although it may be fulfillment of one of the conditions. But the real qualification of a Brahmin is to control the mind and the senses, and to cultivate tolerance, simplicity, cleanliness, knowledge, truthfulness, devotion, and faith in the Vedic wisdom. So this is actually what a real Brahmin is. And actually the whole society should be serving and run under the administration of these folks. But Brahmins, they're not supposed to take much wealth, only their basics for society. They're not supposed to, they're supposed to live very simply, clean, cultivate knowledge, be very truthful, have devotion and faith. And they are supposed to instruct all the other parts of society, especially the ruling class. The ruling class does not want to hear from the Brahmins, that's for sure. And if they do want to hear from any intellectuals, it's just only so, hey, how can I enforce what I want to enforce? How can you help me here? Maybe they'll approach some scientists to, here, manipulate this way so we can do this thing that we want to do. So this is the unfortunate circumstance of Kali Yuga. In the present age, consideration of the necessary qualification is being neglected. So people are accepting, oh, he's a Brahmin, especially in India. Oh, he's Brahmin, he's born Brahmin, and he's perfect. But is he clean? Is he simple? Is he have knowledge? Is he tolerant? Is he subject to anger? Truthfulness, devotion, faith in the Vedic wisdom. None of these things are really considered. Why? Because we're very simple and not so sophisticated. So it's being neglected, and the false birthright claim is being supported even by a popular, sophisticated poet, the author of Ramcharitamanas. Wow, that is interesting, because that's very, very prominent. I know, like for instance, Narayan Maharaj very much emphasizes some of the pastimes in the Ramcharitamanas. But I guess Tulsidas didn't have the auspices of Prabhupada in his everything that he is saying. But anyhow, consideration of the necessary qualification is being neglected, and even by Tulsidas. So this is all due to the influence of the age of Kali. Thus Mother Earth, represented as a cow, was lamenting the regrettable condition.
Prabhupada dissed that guy. Hard.
Oh, Prabhupada will diss so many people who are doing nonsense. I mean, Tulsidas's Ramcharitamanas is actually understood as a very, very good thing, actually, for the world. But even he, was subject to a lesser thing that's not supported by the Vedas. So, So Prabhupada's pointing that out.
So it was not like a super diss. It was just like, even he thinks...
Yes, It wasn't like everything about him, is full, is... But...
I can speak very strongly. Like even Sridhar Maharaj, who's a godbrother of his, who was like very good friends, and in the midst of his preaching, he called him some names. Mm-hmm. And one of his disciples came to his godbrother Sridhar, and Sridhar Maharaj just laughed, and he was like, he spares no one in his preaching.
Yeah.
And he just thought it was like so funny that he was like dissing him.
Yeah, he'll
just
spare...
because it was like protection, for like us who don't really understand.
And also like some of us, like when you grow a plant, one of the things you have to do is kind of protect the plant, right? Mm-hmm. If it has so many outside influences coming, it'll strangle and kill the brand new plant. Right. So if we're trying to cultivate bhakti, Prabhupada he's setting a very strong fence and boundary in which we can grow our plant, and the plant can grow healthily. But if too many outside things, like say Ramcharitamanas and all these outside influences start entering, and we're not ready for it, it could actually have the opposite effect of cultivating our devotion. So Prabhupada, very expert in setting the proper boundary so that the bhakti can actually grow nicely.
What did Prabhupada get mad at that guy about?
So his godbrother, because everyone kind of has different moods and flavors. Yeah. And so his godbrother, who he actually said was one of his gurus, like he referred to him as one of his gurus at one point, he said something, and so one of Prabhupada's disciples heard it and went to Prabhupada to ask. But I don't know all the reasonings, but Prabhupada was like, oh, don't listen to Sridhar, he's a snake, or something, And so the disciple was like, oh, I shouldn't listen to him because he's bad and blah, blah. But actually, it's like they had a lot of love between each other, so much that Prabhupada even said, like, he's like one of my gurus. But to that disciple, he wasn't ready to hear or handle it, so he just wanted to like make a point of being like, he's like a snake, don't listen to him.
Okay.
So then Sridhar Maharaj heard of this, and Sridhar Maharaj just started laughing because he was like, he spares no one in his preaching. Because he's like, he knows, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
He wasn't taking it
No.
as personally.
no, he was
Yeah.
thinking it was like funny, you know,
Yeah.
and like sweet, that like,
Like you,
Look at my
like
friend.
you laughing how they tricked you into the Christian.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Because I would never taken it if I wasn't tricked, you know.
Yeah, so you're gonna see the saintly personalities, how they deal with each other is on a whole nother level, that you can't just take everything face value just like but by what they said. They have intentions, why they said what they said, why, you know. So it is inconceivable, you know, how, you know, we can only just evaluate, all right, what's here, and then we can also hear from those who have more experience with them, and we can get a better idea. But let's
I'd recommend it to be like neutral and not like taking sides of, oh, this guru says this and well, that
Yeah,
guru
yeah,
says that, and
yeah,
this,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
because we just really don't understand.
Right.
And it's also why the foundation is always Shastra. What does the Shastra say? Sadhus and Guru will always actually reflect what the Shastra is saying. So if they're not, then maybe they're not a sadhu or a guru. So
Can you make it a bit bigger?
I could try. Ready? Brahmadayo bahutitam yadapanga moksha
Brahmadayo bahutitam yadapanga moksha
kamastapa samacharan bhagavat prapanaha
Brahmastapa samacharan bhagavat prapana
sa shri swavasam adavindavanang vihaya
Shri Swabhasamarvindavanam vihaya
yat padaso bhagamalang bhajate nurakta
Sobhagamalam bhajate nurakta
tasyaham abjakulishan kushaketu ketai
Tasyaham abjakulishaketu
Srimad Pade Bhagavata Samalan Kritangi
Srimad Bhagavata Samalam Kritangi
Trinatya Rocha Upalabhya Tato Vibhutin
Atyarocha upalabhya tato vibhuti
Lokan Samang Vyasrajadutsma Yating Tarante.
Lokam samam vasarjit samam.
Yeah, it was a little hard. Okay. Brahma Adaya. Demigods such as Brahma. Bahutitham, for many days. Yat, of Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. Apanga Moksha, glance of grace. Kama.
Lakshmi was an evil one, the four-armed goddess. Isn't she a sinister?
No, that might be Alakshmi.
Oh,
So
no.
Lakshmi means the goddess of wealth and fortune.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but Alakshmi might be the opposite of that.
I was thinking like Durga or something.
Yeah. Kali is good, but she's represented by fierce anger, and she rips people's heads off and drinks their blood, and yeah. So, but anyhow, you'll learn all about the different demigods, and that there are demigods, there are cosmic they're ruling over, they're beings ruling over cosmic forces. I can't prove it to you. I can't all right, just see this. They're actually on a plane of consciousness that we can't pick up with our senses. It's just reality. We can only see so much. But even there's so many people having phenomena with ghosts and spirits and things like that, who are beyond the realm of the senses. So anyway, but they're described, a lot of them. So Bahutitam, for many days. Yat, of Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. Apanga Moksha, glance of grace. Kama, being desirous of. Tapa, penances. Samacharan, executing. Bhagavat, unto the personality of Godhead. Prapana, surrendered. Sa, she, the goddess of fortune. Shri, Lakshmiji. Swavasam, her own abode. Aravindavanam, the forest of lotus flowers. Vihaya, leaving aside. Yat, whose. Pada, feet. Soabhagam, all blissful. Alam, without hesitation. Bhajate, worships. Anurakta, being attached. Tasya, his. Aham, myself. Abja, lotus flower. Kulisha, thunderbolt. Ankusha, rod for driving elephants. Ketu, flag. Ketai, impressions. Srimad, the owner of all opulence. Padai, by the soles of the feet. Bhagavata, of the personality of Godhead. Samalankrita Angi, one whose body is so decorated. Treen, 3. Ati, superseding. Aroche, beautifully decorated. Upalabhya, having obtained. Tata, thereafter. Vibhutim, specific powers. Lokan, planetary systems. Sa, he. Mam, me. Vyasraja, gave up. Utsmayatim, while feeling proud. Ta, ante, at the end.
I have a question.
Sure.
Shri means Lakshmiji. What is that? That's
Shri is a name for Lakshmi.
Lakshmiji though. What is Lakshmi?
Lakshmi ji is like a Ji means sweet, like sweet Lakshmi. You know, it's like a sweet name. So
They call you Matt G.
yeah,
Sometimes we'll call you Sister G.
yeah,
When you add G at the end of something, it's like giving respect.
I got it.
yeah. It's like a different it's like an honorific
Yeah.
title, like Mr. Matt. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
but like or like you have if you were to call someone like mother or something who's like motherly, it's like that. So
You want
G.
Sid used to come here, it'd be like, Sita G.
Yeah. People. Somebody
So
call me.
friendly, like-
Call me Ramji. Or,
But in India, they always say.
yeah, they only.
Everyone's name.
Everyone's name is G. So Prabhupada he's offering respect to Lakshmi by calling her Lakshmi Ji.
Okay.
So Lakshmi Ji, the goddess of fortune, whose glance of grace was sought by demigods like Brahma, and for whom they surrendered many a day unto the personality of Godhead, gave up her own abode in the forest of lotus flowers and engaged herself in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord. So Lakshmi is desired by everybody. Everybody is desiring Lakshmi. Lakshmi is wealth. She's abundance. She's the personality of abundance. Everybody in India, you go to any Indian business, and there's Lakshmi in the window. Like, yes, Lakshmi, please come. But everybody is seeking her grace. But what does she do? She gave up her own abode in the forest of lotus flowers and engaged herself in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord. She was interested only in serving Narayan or the Lord. But actually, maybe it's Krishna is being referred to. I was endowed with specific powers to supersede the fortune of all the 3 planetary systems by being decorated with the impressions of the flag, thunderbolt, elephant driving rod, and lotus flower. These are some of the famous, I don't know if you've ever heard of palmistry, reading palms, things like this. So they can actually read, and there's auspicious things in the soles of your feet, and then there's inauspicious things, and they can tell a lot about you by how the lines of your hands and feet have come, because actually the hands and feet are connected to every other part of the body. That's very interesting. Every part of everything actually extends out into the limbs. And you can there's pressure points you can press on the feet, and it'll oh, my kidney is so much better now. There's so many things like this. But anyway, one of the things of the Lord is he has very specific marks on his feet. And it's one of the proofs of the Lord as well. When he comes, he'll have a certain set of qualities and ways you can recognize him. So when Krishna came, the predestined marks of the Lord were there, which were the impressions of the flag, the thunderbolt, the elephant rod, and the lotus flower. They were found in his feet, and they were very evident. So she's remarking how she's missing when those feet were on her soil. But at the end, when I felt I was so fortunate, the Lord left me. So she's saying, when I am, I have God, I have Krishna, he's on my grass and earth, and he's playing and frolicking and having so much fun, doing so many things, and life is perfect, but now he's left me. So this is her lamentation. But now Prabhupada's going to give an allegorical understanding. The beauty and opulence of the world can be enhanced by the grace of the Lord and not by any man-made planning. When the Lord Sri Krishna was present on this earth, the impressions of the special signs of his lotus feet were stamped on the dust, and as a result of this specific grace, the whole earth was made as perfect as possible. In other words, the rivers, the seas, the forests, the hills, and the mines, which are the supplying agents for the necessities of men and animals, were fully discharging their respective duties. Therefore, the riches of the world surpassed all the riches of all the other planets in the 3 planetary systems of the universe. One should therefore ask that the grace of the Lord always be present on earth, so that we may be favored by it with his causeless mercy and be happy, having all necessities of life. So one of the graces of the Lord that is all abundance is there, and she's mentioning in this verse how everyone's seeking the favor of Lakshmi, who's the controller of wealth and abundance, but she leaves everything behind to go serve the Lord. So wherever you have the Lord present in your life, all abundance will also be there. So that's we've seen this actually here. I have no professional qualification, literally zero. I'm a college dropout. I have nothing. I have no business having a house. I have no business managing any type of finances and things. I'm not qualified. I really should be like renting somewhere and working some job to barely maintain myself based on my qualification. But because of somehow or other being influenced in my life to try and worship the Lord, and being stationed here to try and run a center for the Lord, we're not rich, but we have enough. We have the ability to make it by day to day, and we can keep focusing on these things, which are recommended. And I've personally seen in my life, and that's only adding a little bit of Krishna into the equation. We've only added like a little bit of Krishna. It's not like we're these great devotees or constantly, in ecstasy worshiping the Lord. We just have a set program every day that we, make sure we do. We invite the community to do. And just by that little bit of what we've done, we've seen Krishna has, Lakshmi is here because she's also wanting to serve Krishna in his expansion. So Prabhupada's also saying this, that wherever the Lord is worshipped, wherever the Lord is present in the life of anyone, all abundance will be there. And when the Lord was on this planet, the whole planet was so abundant. So then he says, one may ask how we can detain the Supreme Lord on this earth after his mission is fulfilled. So, we're kind of trying to, how do we capture the Lord? And he has left this earth for his own abode. The answer is that there's no need to detain the Lord. The Lord, being omnipresent, can be present with us if we want him at all. It's by our desire, actually. If we desire the Lord will absolutely come. But the thing is, most people don't desire the Lord, and they desire so many other things, and maybe they get those other things. But it's not nearly as perfect. As one who desires the Lord, you get everything. That's why Jesus says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all other things shall be added unto you. And he's right. If you seek first God, everything else that's needed and necessary in life is there. It's present. The Lord, being omnipresent, can be present with us if we want him at all. By his omnipresence, he can always be with us if we are attached to his devotional service, by hearing, chanting, remembering. That's why we do what we do. By hearing about the pastimes of the Lord becomes present. By chanting the Lord's name, the Lord is present in the name. By remembering the pastimes of the Lord, or remembering the name of the Lord, remembering any type of aspect of the Lord is actually there. He's omnipresent. He's everywhere. He's the foundation of every atom. Everyone's looking for the God particle. Why? Because that particle that they're trying to diagnose and find, what's the foundation, the basis of everything, they can only attribute those qualities to God. That's why it's called the God particle. Because really, in order to sustain existence, it must have supernatural qualities. We try to break down things and diagnose the parts, and they found they can't get to the bottom of it. But they speculate there is a God particle. And why do they call it the God particle? Because the qualities that they're looking for, or that must be there for such a particle to exist, actually have omniscient and omnipresent qualities, which are qualities of God. So everyone, even the scientists, everyone's looking for God. Hey, Abiram, you're very happy now. So good. There's nothing in the world with which the Lord is disconnected. The only thing we must learn is to excavate the source of connection and thus be linked with him by offenseless service. So that's the only thing we must learn, is to excavate, figure out this source of connection, unearth it. It's lost science. We must find it, and then be linked with him by this offenseless service. So learn to serve the Lord offenselessly. We have so many offensive reasons we're approaching the Lord, pretty much to exploit God. Prabhupada is saying, well, how can we wanting to detain the Lord and use God's, like many people approach religion. I mean, when I was a kid, I approached God because God's like the wish-fulfilling genie in the sky, and he gives you whatever you want. And I was like, ooh, that's very attractive. That's what I was told. But this is actually offensive. This is offensive worship of God. But Krishna, he says, Savai pum sang paro dharmo yato bhaktir hokshaje ahaituki yaprati hata yayatma supersidity. And he says, only by the most auspicious thing for humankind is that which engages one in the devotional service of the Lord. And only that which is unmotivated by your own personal motivations and uninterrupted can completely satisfy the self. So until we figure out how to be unmotivated unto the Lord and serve the Lord simply for his pleasure, we'll never truly be satisfied. So that's the system. So the holy name of the Lord and the Lord himself are identical. And one who chants the holy name of the Lord in an offenseless manner can at once realize that the Lord is present before him. So actually God is already present. But because our consciousness is muddled, he's not so interested in revealing himself to us. And the only way we can enchant him, supplicate him, is ultimately we need to approach him offenselessly. Just like, there are certain people we have relationships with in our life. But if you find that there's like this one associate you have that all they want to do is use you for something, you're not so like eager, oh, I can't wait to hang out with this. He's like, oh, well, let's hang out. Oh, now that you're here, I need this done, I need this done, I need this done, I need this done. I'm like, okay, that's great. Like, I'm glad I came all the way to hang out with you. So similarly, when we approach God, and the God is to come, and you're like, oh, perfect, do this, do this, do this, do this. You're like, well, that's not really attractive, So this is our, if we really want to approach the Lord, we have to get that stuff out of the way, and it's called the offensive stage has to be cleared. It's called the Nartha Nivritti, unvaluable things we're approaching God for. So anyway, yeah. I mean, it's you can personally verify with your life. Yeah, I don't like when people want to exploit me, and people don't seem to like when I want to exploit them. And so this exploitative nature, God is not interested. He's beyond this limitation of exploiting others. He's not here to lord it over us and make us his slaves and things like that. But because we have that tendency, he's like, all right, these are like just like there's people in society who are so exploitative that they got to get locked in a prison. They're just so bad that you're just like, you got to go in the box, dude. And we glorify it. If somebody, like some guy killed that woman on a train, and so he gets thrown in prison. Yeah, he should be. If you're killing people in public, you have to be put away. You're just not safe for others. So similarly, the Lord, we're so exploitative to different degrees that the Lord has to give us a world where we can stay. Just like the prisoners, they can associate with each other in prison, and they have their pastimes in the bathroom which aren't so savory and things like that. So in this world we have all kinds of disturbing things here, but only certain type of beings belong here and have to deal with those problems. And that's us, unfortunately. So the purification, that's why Jesus said the first thing that we have to do is repent. We have to change our consciousness. That's what metanoia means. The word repent isn't in the Bible. The word is metanoia. Metanoia means literally to change one's mind. Our whole process is to change one's consciousness. Cheto darpana marjanam. To cleanse the consciousness. How? By adding God to the consciousness. That's the God effect. The consciousness can become clean, and then Cheto Darpana Marjanam, when that happens, Bhava Maha Devagni Nirvapanam, the sufferings of existence will be eliminated. Cheto Darpana Marjanam, Bhava Maha Devagni Nirvapanam. Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam, the all auspicious good fortune, the rays of the auspicious good fortune will spread throughout our life. So this is like Shikshastakam, this prayer is actually teaching us how to advance. And all it is in the consciousness, adding the Lord's holy name, adding the Lord to your consciousness, and everything will just get better and better. No more suffering, all auspiciousness will come. And then at the higher stages, Vidya Vadu Jivanam, all knowledge will start to come to you. and then Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam, an ocean of bliss will begin to expand, Pratipadam, at every step, Purnamrita Svadanam, complete nectar. You'll be relishing complete nectar. And Sarvatma Snapanam, you'll be immersed in it. You'll be completely immersed in nectar. The saints and the sages, the advanced devotees, they're always blissful. Why? Because God has entered their consciousness so heavily. So heavily God is present in their consciousness. So this is our process. So Prabhupada is saying, even by the vibration of radio sound, we can partially realize sound relativity. And by resounding the sound of transcendence, we can verily or truthfully feel the presence of the Lord. In this age, when everything is polluted by the contamination of Kali, it is instructed in the scriptures. What are you laughing at?
Because yesterday you were...
Crinkly, but
Because now he's crinkly.
I put it behind him, big, he wouldn't grab it.
You are right for it.
That's all right. It's not that bad. Before it was like right in my ear yesterday. I was like, dang. It is instructed in the scriptures.
I like watching his motor skills.
And
Go for it.
Hold on.
so, where are we? Let's just finish this and we'll be done. In this age, when everything is polluted by the contamination of Kali, it is instructed in the scriptures and preached by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that by chanting the holy name of the Lord, we can at once be free from contamination and gradually rise to the status of transcendence and go back to Godhead. The offenseless chanter of the holy name of the Lord is as auspicious as the Lord himself. And the movement of the pure devotees of the Lord all over the world can at once change the troublesome face of the world. Only by the propagation of the chanting of the holy name of the Lord can we be immune from all effects of the age of Kali. So she's lamenting that the Lord has left, and now all good fortune has left her. But similarly now, all good fortune has left this age, but by the adding of the Lord, the adding of the Lord's holy name, the adding of Krishna consciousness, gradually everything will get better and better, and then you no longer have to be here in this world suffering. Or you can even be blissful in this world, like the great saints and the acharyas are, because they're actually able to perceive the Lord even here. But that's a level of consciousness that we're not qualified for right now. But we're qualified to practice, and that's why our process is sadhana bhakti, practicing bhakti. And these are the activities to do. So every day we hear about the Bhagavatam. Every day we chant the holy names of the Lord. We glorify our gurus. We are hearing, we're associating with other devotees, other devotional people, associating with advanced saints and sage-like people who walk this earth. So anyhow, thank you guys for coming. May the God effect take precedence in your life. Keep adding Krishna consciousness into your life. There's really only two rules for Krishna consciousness. Always remember Krishna and never forget him. And everything that we do will facilitate only those two things. And you can actually be happy here in this world with the auspices and blessings of God in your life. And otherwise, yeah, it's a tough time. Because it's a complete illusion. God is the foundation of reality. That's why they're saying, the material scientists looking for the foundation of matter. They call it the God particle. Even they know. Everyone, anyone who has a sound intelligence realizes God. How everything is perfectly lined up. Everything is so perfect. The moving of the seasons, the changing of everything, the the intelligence behind all of existence. Everything is perfectly lined up. And if you understand the fabric, the foundation as God, and you start to actually cultivate that realization and expand upon it, there's even all personality also is a part of God's ultimate intelligence. And guess what? God has personality as well. So that can be cultivated and expanded upon, and Krishna is that personality, and we're trying to connect with, at least in the beginning. There may be more also. But anyway, this is our last Bhagavatam, at least mine, for a week. I'm very grateful. Danya, thanks for joining. Matt, thanks for joining. Abhi, Ram, and Parth, and Madhav, and Davies, thank you for joining. Grantharaj, Srimad Bhagavatam Ki. Madhav, only 20 minutes late. Yeah.
I'm very grateful for your wonderful presentation of the Bhagavatam.
I'm trying to just give something small. Thank you.